Hey, what's up, Cardfighters? BOTCG here, and a little bit of an update to one of my classics, one of my favorite decks, the art on my channel, PLAYMAT, which, speaking of that, we are going to be doing the PLAYMAT giveaway. That's still happening. I believe we're going to be doing like 10, maybe more. It depends on how easy it is for me to ship these things out. I think the best way for me to do it is, it's going to be in terms of the US, it'll just be like, I'll be able to ship it out to you, no problem. I'm not saying if you win and you're outside the US that it's going to be impossible, but you might have to help me with shipping just to make sure that it gets to you. Because I could snail mail ship it to you, and then it could get lost in transit, and that would be like a whole mess in itself. But yeah, we're going to use this video right here as a comment. So comment down below, and it's going to enter you in the video. Just comment. We're going to do this as a lead into a Q&A video. So comment a question down below that you want answered in the Q&A, and that'll automatically have you entered in the PLAYMAT giveaway, which again, we're going to give at least 10 of these guys out. This fresh looking boy right here. But yeah, let's get into the profile. Play tested this a little bit today, did a little bit of a playtest sesh, and the deck really hasn't changed much. There are some cool new interactions, but more like, it's crazy too, because I haven't updated this deck since we were in main deck 46 cards. Now we're main deck 46 cards. It has boosted the consistency of the deck overall. This is the ORFIST MASQUES variant. I did think about going back to Regis, pure Regis, but you could just do so much more with ORFIST Mask that it's the mask engine is more beneficial. Even though if you don't get into your mask, it kind of feels like you bricked up on a Tuesday, which you can have trouble bricking up on a Tuesday, but that's just kind of like how the deck is right now, unfortunately. Getting into our main deck units, we're gonna be playing. I'm gonna be doing this deck profile in terms of packages. So we're gonna be going over the unit and order package first, and then we're gonna be going over into the mask package, and then the rest of the deck. So going off into the unit, maybe we should let's do the order package first, because we're just playing 10, or not 10. We're just playing 8 orders right now. Generally, the way this deck that I found, generally is the way this deck wants to be played is, you want to just be popping 2 set orders when you're on Regis, and then have the third one be one of this Eternity, so that you can get the buff off of what you call, generally speaking. But we're only running 8 right now. I haven't had any problems with seeing orders, in my personal opinion. I just really need to see. I really like seeing 4 different ones. Doesn't really do much. Like, if you just kind of have to. It depends on your board, really, but more often than not, I found myself just popping 2, maybe 3. Again, it just depends on what you have on board. Howling Moonlit Night, this is just like something you do to help dig through your deck. This is more often than not the order you're using on turn 2. You're the one that you're grabbing off your ride line, more often than not. That's where we are playing it at bigger copies than the rest of them. 2 copies of Eclipsed, just a token generator. 2 copies of Overcoming Eternity, just to see it. And then we're playing 1 copy of In the Darkness That Nobody Knows. We're really just playing In the Darkness That Nobody Knows as a name, and nothing else really. That's why we're playing 3 Howling Moonlit Night. You can play 2 In the Darkness That Nobody Knows, just to boost up your consistency of seeing it. But because we do have cards that care about having different named set orders, that is our main reasoning right now for playing what we play. Getting off into our normal units now, playing 1 copy of ORFIST Regis in the main deck. There are there's some interesting combos that you can do with ORFIST Regis. This is technically searchable because of some non-engine pieces that we're running. So that's the reason why running 1 doesn't feel like, oh, you're just running 1 and like you have no guarantee of seeing it. Now, like, we do have ways to pull this out of deck if we don't see this naturally. 4 copies of Cardinal Moore's ORFIST masks. You really do want a hard mull for ORFIST mask or the mask order or the order searcher, just because you are so this is your deck, and you are like, just like Greed on Mask, you are so reliant on getting on the mask version that you can kind of still play, but it requires more resources for you to be able to do like the same thing but better / easier with ORFIST mask. 4 copies of Polar Axis Dragon. It's really weird that this isn't a Cardinal unit, now that I'm thinking about it. It is also kind of cringe that we can only get this in common right now in the West, but you know, it is what it is. This is one of your cards that does care about having different named orders, so that's one of the many reasons why we're playing In the Darkness that nobody knows. We don't really care about retiring our opponent's stuff, but like, hey, if we have access to it, we can do it. Generally, you want to get your token generator off of this, Overcoming Eternity off of this, because you really don't want to be paying CB1. You really don't want to be paying Soul Blast 2. Soul Blasting 1, it's whatever, but you don't want to be paying these costs. So generally, we use Polar Axis Dragon to get that. And then 4 copies of Opart. I don't really find myself using its dump ability, at least in the few playtest matches that I've done with the new list. I haven't found myself dumping any orders into the bin. Like I said, I felt like the sweet spot for orders has been like 3 for me personally. I know like it's just like more resources, and like more of like, if you happen to draw, like if you have 2 of these, then you know, more of like, if you just happen to have the setup for it, then of course you can pop off, go ahead king. But like, more often than not, if you're working with bare bones, this is what's going to be happening. This is where I was talking about, to whereas you can be popping 4 or 3 with Opart, because when Opart gets called upon, you can generate another token as long as you're on ORFIST mask. Getting on to our mask engine, which you can technically consider ORFIST mask a part of that engine. 4 copies of Dragon Tree Wretch, the Mask Searcher, 4 copies of ORFIST Moors, and then 2 copies of the Mask. This felt like the sweet spot for me personally. I've either drawn the Mask or drawn the Mask Searcher. The Dragon Tree marker does actually help with your numbers generally, so that is also a plus as well, but you know, you gotta run it. This is just the order package you gotta run right now, unfortunately. Running 10 orders in total. And then we're moving on to a little bit of more non-engine that we're able to fit in the deck now because of you know, that 50 card main deck is 3 copies of the new Energy Cycler, Bullet of Creation. Now this is what I was talking about, where you could use this to combo with what you're doing with ORFIST mask, is you can call Bullet of Creation, you can Energy Blast 3, you could search your ORFIST Regis, you could discard Regis, and then you could use Mask's effect. So it's a weird way to get an extra ORFIST mask effect off to put an order into the order zone from drop zone, or you could also pull an order from your deck into your hand. But of note is, if whatever you add to your hand, you have to discard a card. So ideally you want to just discard this for Ride and then draw your free card and then call it a day. But you know, if you do draw this when you have Persona Road, there are combos that you can do into the deck, and it does bridge into your other set orders. Moving on to the rest of the deck here, you can play a Blitz Order PG here. There's really nothing stopping you. It's just the way I like to play ORFIST is it's either like, it's kind of like not really a go all in strategy, but more often than not, it's just I prefer the DPGs. Now, if I was playing in a more competitive setting right now, I'm really just playing at locals. I did miss the Kingslayer event, unfortunately. This week has just been a really rough week for me energy-wise, so I did decide to sit out of that one. But the next time I do get to play competitive, definitely, if I were to play my ORFIST deck, which I wouldn't mind if it was possible, I would be subbing in a Blitz Order PG, no doubt about that. One of the best parts of playing a Brandgate deck is you get to play the Brandgate Overtrigger. It's just, in my personal opinion, still the best Overtrigger right now. It's just Brandgate's not getting a lot of representation right now, just because everything else is power crept past what Brantgate is doing, but I do believe by the time we hit set 2 and set 3, you're going to be seeing more Brantgate decks coming around, especially if that EVA promo is coming out. 3 effect fronts, 4 vanilla heals, and then 8 vanilla crits. I don't like draws in this deck just generally because you're already running so many cards without shield value, and I take the same approach with Barrow Magnus. Whenever I run draws, I either end up drawing into them or drawing draws off the draws, and they just don't help me in terms of shield value. I haven't had any issues in terms of just seeing my pieces, mainly because of the Cycler and because of the Mask Searcher as well. I haven't had any issue in like seeing connecting lines of my deck as a whole to whereas I felt like I needed to see the draws. Maybe I could do some more explosive, like heavy-handed card plays if I were running the draw triggers, but I do prefer I do like the fronts in this version of the deck, especially since every deck now seems to be more defensively capable. You know, sign of the times, we have to up our shield value as well, in my personal opinion. I don't think that ORFIST is the most viable meta contender right now. I would consider it top of Rogue, or maybe like teetering on the bottom of tier 2. It's still very good at what it does, especially if it goes first, or even in, you know, going second, just getting that Persona Ride off. You can just hit some really dummy numbers in like immediately on your turn 3 turn. But you could kind of say that about a lot of decks right now in the format. It's really a little bit swingy, but still kind of balanced at the same time. I don't know. I like this format a lot personally, just because like so much shield, it feels like you have more control over, or you have more agency over what's happening in the game, versus like my opponent just rode up and they just did their turn, versus in old D, now that we're moving on to DZ. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Comment down below your questions for that Q&A. I think I'm going to give it, I am also going to make a community post about it as well, but I think I'm going to give it a week. Yeah, a week, 5 days, 5 business days, or a week, or like a whole 7-day week in general of you just commenting on this video, the questions you want answered for that Q&A, and then at the end of the Q&A, we're going to be revealing the winners of the mats. So yeah, guys, there's going to be, like, depending on how many participants we get, is, you know, at least 10, if not more. Completely depends on how many participants. So anyways, guys, y'all have a great day. Later.